Was there or was there not a 350-foot gash in the reflecting pool?
Senator, I stand by my
one now?
I stand by my statement, sir.
Your statement doesn't answer the question.
I stand by my statement, sir.
Okay, don't want to answer the question. I can see why you don't want to answer the question. You're in a terrible position because the president has made up a 350-foot gash. And unfortunately now police officers are being put in the position of having to make arrests that I suspect are going to fare very badly in court because there's nothing about touching the reflecting pool or picking up a piece of floating, peeling paint that amounts to vandalism as a matter of law. Thank you, Chairman.
Just one simple yes or no question. A question about a physical reality, visible to the naked eye. But this high-ranking nominee completely froze with a robotic, repetitive answer. I stand by my statement. During a Senate Environment Committee hearing Wednesday, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse directly questioned Kevin Lilly, the nominee for Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, USFWS, about the bizarre events unfolding at the reflecting pool. Welcome to the most detailed breakdown of how a law enforcement system gets bent to serve the ego of a politician. The epicenter of this confrontation is the absurd arrest of tourists right in the capital, Washington, D.C., based on an act of vandalism that doesn't even exist. Buckle up, because I'm going to show you exactly how the establishment uses public institutions as their personal shields. To understand why Kevin Lilly is sweaty bullets on the hot seat, we have to go back to the origin of the incident. Notice how Senator Whitehouse shifts his tone from initial, polite greetings. He immediately drops an indictment on the president's delusion.
Thanks very much, Mr. Lilly. Thank you for joining me yesterday to discuss the issues that the Interior Department is facing. Thank you for your service in our military. I would like to talk with you about the reflecting pool, as we discussed yesterday. At the moment, the park police are making arrests around the reflecting pool. The president has claimed that vandals, quoting him here, took some form of knife or blade and put a 250-foot-long gash into the beautiful facade of what took so much work, competence, and money to build and complete. He increased the estimate to 300 feet later, then to 350 feet, insisting that it was, quoting him again, cut and powerfully lifted off the surface, leaving very jagged, uneven edges. He was asked what proof there was of any of that, since it doesn't seem to be visible to any other person. And he said, well, you'll have to go see the Parks Department. They'll show it to you, or see the secretary, but I saw it. We have pictures. He also said you'll see it in court.
A summary as cold as ice. Do you see the absurdity? A 250-foot gash, which then automatically inflates to 300 and then 350 feet. Why does a leader constantly change the numbers about a physical event? Because it doesn't exist. A massive gash sitting right in the middle of Washington, D.C., the place with the highest density of security cameras and tourists in America, yet absolutely no one saw it. And when the press demanded proof, the president played a classic evasion tactic. You'll have to go see the Parks Department. The president threw the Parks Department and the police under the bus to act as a human shield for himself, and Whitehouse sees this exact opportunity. He invited the very nominee leading that agency out for a confrontation. What makes this hearing historical lies in its legal consequences. American citizens being handcuffed, and Whitehouse delivers a massive psychological blow by invoking his diplomatic experience in dictatorial regimes, setting a perfect trap for Mr. Lilly.
So you were a police commissioner in Texas, understand it? When people visiting the reflecting pool are being arrested, handcuffed, and dragged away by your police officers, you'd like to think that they have proper probable cause to arrest someone. I grew up in the Foreign Service, and there were plenty of countries in which arrests made to satisfy a political leader's narrative that had no basis in fact was something that they did. The American system of justice has not operated that way. What can you tell me here today about what damage was done to the reflecting pool, where this 350-foot gash came from, and why tourists are being arrested? What is the factual predicate for these arrests?
Yes, sir, thank you. And indeed, I have spent, as a son of a police officer, as well as a police commissioner, I've spent virtually my entire life in and around the law enforcement industry or business community, rather.
So you'd agree with me that arresting tourists to vindicate a political narrative, not because of any evidence of a crime, would be a wrong thing to do if that were what happened, correct?
You just witnessed the art of a seasoned prosecutor. Whitehouse ties Lilly down to an undeniable principle. Arresting innocent people to serve a political narrative is wrong. Mr. Lilly is backed into a corner. If he says there is no gash, he crosses the president. If he says yes, he commits perjury before Congress. And here is how bureaucrats dodge. They use professional pride as a shield.
Senator, the U.S. Park Police is one of the most extraordinary and historic police departments in the United States, founded in 1789. And in the year that I've had the opportunity and pleasure and privilege and honor to work with them, I have been amazingly impressed by their professionalism, their training, their discipline, their service, and their duty and service to this district and the people that live here.
Yeah, which is why these incidents seem so aggravating, and I'd like to ask you to respond to
And
that.
consequently, sir, I would say that, and I think that all people would agree, that ensuring that law and order is maintained for anyone to apply, and I'm not saying that you are, that the U.S. Park Police in any way use political motivation to carry out their duties, I think would be unjust, and in some ways an egregious accusation.
Incredible. Whitehouse asks about a 350-foot gash, and Lilly spends a full minute delivering a speech praising the police's history since 1789. Whenever you question the commander's orders, they accuse you of smearing the foot soldiers, carrying them out. Whitehouse doesn't let Lilly finish playing the victim card. He decides to strip away this absurdity by revealing the truth right then and there. Why were those tourists actually handcuffed?
So what's the predicate then? Was there, in fact, a 350-foot gash done by a vandal to the reflecting pool?
The predicate, sir, is that I have no doubt that the police officers involved in the apprehensions of these individuals, of which I believe there were 5, were doing their duty, were enforcing the law appropriately. And I think that all of us should recognize and believe that vandalism of any kind is an affront to civilized society.
Yeah,
it hurts everyone.
But Mr. Lilly, the question is, was there vandalism? Did someone cut a 350-foot gash in the reflecting pool? And what vandalism did these individuals do? Is it really vandalism to pick a piece of floating peeled paint out of the reflection pool? People have run through the reflecting pool in the past. The president drove through the reflecting pool, apparently.
Boom. Absolutely no blades, no jagged edges. The police are handcuffing 5 tourists simply because they pick a piece of floating peeled paint off the water. To protect the president's fictional narrative, the police system turned a harmless act into a criminal offense. At this point, with the naked truth exposed, Mr. Lilly has to grab the most pathetic lifeline of the bureaucratic class, an ongoing investigation.
Sir, I stand by my statement that the U.S. Park Police operated and conducted their business of defending or protecting this city in an appropriate manner. There was no malfeasance, nor was there any political motivation to it. And furthermore, sir, as you know, this is an ongoing investigation, and consequently, I'm not in a position to share that information publicly. But once it is available publicly, I'm happy to meet with you. I met with you yesterday, sir. I'll meet with you anytime.
This is an ongoing investigation. I'll meet with you anytime. The universal magic spell to cover up information. You can't confirm a physical truth visible to the naked eye because it's under investigation. Whitehouse refuses to accept this insult to our intelligence, leading to the humiliating silence we saw at the beginning of the video, where Lilly repeats, "I stand by my statement," 3 consecutive times. This hearing is a bitter indictment of the justice system. When Kevin Lilly stubbornly refuses to answer, he implicitly admits that political loyalty stands above objective truth. Just as Whitehouse predicted, these cases will fail miserably in court because no judge can convict a person of vandalism when the only physical evidence is the hallucination of a president. However, the damage is already done. The freedom of those tourists was stripped away the moment they were handcuffed. The legal process itself became a political punishment. If the legal system is willing to jail you just to make one person's lies sound reasonable, then the facade of law and order has completely collapsed. What do you guys think about this cover-up? And let me know in the comments below. Hit like, subscribe, and share this video because exposing the dark is the only way to keep the light alive. See you in the next breakdown video.